Hello everyone and welcome to Eve Basics. Today I'm going to shoot a video about the thing that people seem to be the most confused about when they first start off playing, which is exploration. And here I am in my little Imicus. This is the ship I'm going to fly for exploration. Every race has their own exploration frigate that you can take out, and the Imicus is by far the ugliest. Look at this poor dilapidated thing, but it does a good job. So I'm going to share the fit really quick. I'm taking literally almost nothing on this just to kind of prove what you can accomplish with very little amounts of stuff. The whole shebang here costs under $1 million. And there's only a couple things you actually need. I'm going to actually unfit these for a second, just so you can kind of see. Okay, so this is the main thing you need, core probe launcher. This is what launches your probes, your core probes. We'll get into those later, but you need one of these guys on there. You also need a data analyzer and a relic analyzer for this basic stuff. The main thing you're looking for in the early stages of exploration, the thing that I find to be the most lucrative and interesting, is the data sites and the relic sites. We'll talk about that in a bit. I put an afterburner on because I hate slow boating it everywhere. So if I have to burn around a site to get some of the cans, I'm going to want my afterburner on. And then just for fun, I put a small mimetic algorithm bank 1 on, which improves my data analyzer. It makes it just a little bit better for hacking. We'll talk about that in another video. And small emission scope sharpener, which makes my relic analyzer better. These are not necessary. I could be running this ship with just the core probe launcher, the afterburner, and the data and relic analyzers, and probably even less than that. So then you're going to need at least 8 core scanner probes. Most people run 16. They're very cheap, and if you run with 16, then the next set automatically reloads once you launch your 8. So I'm going to undock from Dodixie. I have set a waypoint for myself in Silaperer, wherever that is. I just want to be able to go through a bunch of different high-sec systems and see what kind of stuff is in there. So let's undock, and we'll start on our little journey in our disgustingly hideous Imicus. Here we go. I mean, I feel bad for him, but he's useful. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do when I get out is right-click here and load some core scanner probes into my launcher. Now, the thing about exploration is it's kind of a thing you have to do usually out in the middle of nowhere. The closer you are to the trade hubs, the less stuff there is because there's more people. So better exploration happens in further isolation, and so it can be a really interesting feeling to go exploring into solar systems you've never been into. I don't know if I've ever been into Silaperer and actually really looked around, but on the way we're going to do some stuff. So the first thing we got to do, we'll check Dodixie, or this solar system, but I doubt there'll be anything here. We have to go to scanners. You can hold left on that, or just left click will work too. And we don't want the directional scanner or the moon and probe or this thing. We want probe scanner. I've set it to P. I think the default's Alt P, but Alt seems like too much work. So I just set it to P. This will open up this window. Ah, there is something here. When you open up the solar system window, you're going to see a bunch of stuff on here. The things you're interested in for exploration are these little red X's with these these red sort of spheres around them. If you rotate this, you can hold left click and kind of rotate this as a 3D map of the solar system. There's different things on here, but this is what you want. So what we're going to do is we're going to launch our probes. I'm going to stop my ship. Launch probes. This thing pops up. Now this is a visual representation of what your probes look like in space. Okay, so they launched down here. So this box in the middle is draggable like this, and this is all you really need. You only need to be able to drag this box from the side and from the top. Okay, so this is, people overcomplicate the scanning. It's really, really easy. This box is where your probes are centered, and these little blue spheres are where they'll scan. So our goal, if we want to scan something down, in order to interact with it, we have to scan it down first. We don't know what this thing is, and we can't do anything with it. If we right click on it, we can ignore it or ignore other. We can't like warp to it or do anything about it. But it's something, and we want to know what it is. So we're going to take our box and drag it until it's lined up on this angle here. We're going to rotate our screen like this by holding left click and dragging the mouse down. We see that, well, it's lined up on this axis. It's not lined up here. So we're going to drag it this way. And then what we want to do, we can zoom in with the mouse wheel and drag like this with the right click. We want to kind of fine tune that just for a second. And we want to match the blue radius of our circles with the red radius here. So it looks like I need to increase the size by 1. Here's how you drag the size that your drones, that your core probes are going to scan at is over here. They can get absolutely massive. 32 AU is huge. We're going to go with 8 AU because that encompasses the entirety of this red sphere. And we're going to click Analyze. And they are going to fly over there. And they're going to go to work. They're going to tell us what this is. I am going to guess that this is a wormhole. But there are basically 4 different things you can find. Wormholes, combat sites, data sites, and relic sites. Okay, so my probes have finished scanning, and they've determined that this thing is actually up here. It's not a red X anymore, it's a little red dot. That means we're on to something. So we're going to recenter our thing from that angle. We're going to recenter it from that angle, and we're going to shrink our probe size by 1. So from 8 AU down to 4 AU, we're going to tick it down 1. We're going to reanalyze. It's somewhere in this area here. So we'll see what this is. Takes a little while for the probes to fly there and to scan. You can increase or decrease this amount of time. So yeah, it's a wormhole. So it's turned yellow here. And so we can see a few things about it. We can see that it's a wormhole. The scanning difficulty is level 1. That goes, as far as I know, it goes all the way up to 5. It might go higher than that, but level 1 stuff's fairly easy to scan down. So we're going to, if it's still yellow like this, we still can't do anything to it. We have to get this bar up to 100%. Now, we've only got 30.9% signal, so that means we need to hone in on this a little more. We're going to center that there. We're going to rotate it there and center it there, and we're going to shrink it by 1. And we're going to reanalyze, all the while sort of hanging out. We're not in a dangerous spot right now. We're into Dixie. No one's going to attack us. But if you do this sort of thing inside a wormhole, scan stuff down, you got to be quick, lickety-split. So we're getting closer to where it is. So we're going to realign this like this, shrink it by 1, and we're going to reanalyze. And we'll get it to 100%. So now when it's green like this, it's at 100%. You can either right click here and say warp to, you can right click here and say warp to. You can get here all kinds of ways. You can use the radial menu by holding left click and warp to. Okay, so I'm not going to go through this wormhole because I bet on the other side there's a lot of campers, but I'll fly there just to show you how that mechanic works. And then I'm going to fly around looking for some other stuff. The other thing I want to mention quick is that core scanner probes are not as dumb as drones. They come back to you no matter what. So you don't have to worry about putting them away or picking them up or anything like that. So we found this wormhole, and here's the entrance, and that'll take us into very dangerous things. And inside wormhole is a whole other video and a whole other bunch of stories. But for now, we wouldn't have been able to come here if we wouldn't have scanned this down. Okay, so I'm going to start jumping around now. If you do want to put your probe scanners back in, you can click this, recover active probes. It's not really all that necessary unless you're only carrying 8 and you need to launch them again. I don't know why you would really need to pull them back in. But we're going to go to Meves over here. Or perhaps Mevis. Nobody knows. We're jumping there because there's nothing left here. We've discovered everything there is. There's no more X's. And we're not interested in wormholes right now. So we don't really care about that. We have to get away from the people so that we can find stuff that nobody's found before. Always do some PD while you're jumping, because why not? Hey, 100,000 ISK. So we're going to open P here, and we're in Mevis. There's nothing here. We're going to jump on. There's no red X's, so we don't care about this solar system. On we go. Here we are in Matir. There's nothing here. Sometimes exploration is lonely. We're jumping to Adraland, home of the Adras. If you keep your window open, you don't have to look at your ugly, ugly amicus. Take that, COVID-19, you foul beast. Now we're in Adraland, and looky here. We got a couple red X's, so we're launching our probes. Oh, interference from your cloaking is preventing your systems from functioning. So when you jump through a gate, you are invisible and invulnerable, so in order to do anything, you need to uncloak yourself by double-clicking in space. Then you can stop your ship and launch your probes. Open your probe window here, and we're going to get to work scanning just like we did. Going to line up on this X first, in that one, and then line up here. 8AU seems to be a pretty good default for starting to scan. So we're going to do that. And now we might even catch this guy up here. We might be able to catch both these in the same scan. Looks like there's a few combat sites here, hideaways and refuges and burrows, and a drone collection, and another refuge. Okay, so we caught both of these. I'm going to just focus on one at a time. It's really hard to scan multiple things down at once, so we're just going to focus on this one here. We oriented our the center of our core probes, and we shrunk our scan size by 1 degree here, and we're rescanning. Here comes somebody in a Velator. All right, now you'll notice that this one has turned into an X with a revolving circle around it. That means the point is somewhere on this circle. We're not going to deal with that one yet, though. We are going to keep going on this guy over here. So let's get our box facing us so it looks flat. We'll drag it there. We'll rotate it to the top and drag it there. Lower our size by 1, and we're going to hone in on this puppy and see what it is. That is a wormhole. I'm not going to finish scanning it because I'm not interested in wormholes right now. So I am going to go here, and I am going to line up in the middle of this. And this ring is within my probe area, so hopefully we can see this guy move onto there. So yeah, if you're looking for wormholes to jump through, that's what they look like. And this one's another wormhole. So we're going to pull our scans back in. We're going to fly to Patink. Not even going to finish scanning those out. It's not worth it for me right now. So here we are in Patink, and we are going to double click so we can start moving so that we decloak, stop our ship, and launch our probes. And we're going to start probing this out. Line it up on that face, line it up on that face, make it big, and analyze. It moved, so we're going to line it up there, rotate it like that, line it up there, shrink it by a size, and analyze again. That one moved ever so slightly, and it's being difficult to scan down. I'm only 3 ticks from the closest scan here, so I'm keeping centering my drones on there. Or my probes. I keep calling them drones. I'm Galente. Give me a break. That's not perfectly centered, but you know what? Okay, so it's not even turning. We don't even know what this thing is yet. So I'm still centering very carefully on there, and I'm going to keep analyzing down. We're in 0.8, so I'm not sure what this could really be. That's crazy. So this is a relic site, perfecto. So we want to scan that down real bad. Let's see if we can do it. It's at 36%. I'm as close as I can be, and I'm as lined up as I can be. This is scanning difficulty level 4. That's completely bonkers. That's a little scary, actually. I can get it to 86%. Let's see if I can get it all the way. This may not happen, actually. I'm in an Imicus, and I don't have the crazy stuff on here. So here's what we can do. We hold shift, we open up all these little boxes here. Now this is going pretty crazy, but you can actually, you know, instead of using that other formation, if you want to scan down really crazy stuff, you can hold shift and kind of go like that and like that. And this will have all your probes right smack dab in the middle. If I can't get it off this, that means that I can't scan this. If I was in a better ship with better bonuses, we'd probably be able to figure out what this thing is, but I did not expect to run into some level 4 relic site out here in 0.08. So we can get it into the 87, 90s, and we're just going to leave it. That's as good as we can go. We're going to be in pinpoint formation again, and we're going to go after this other red X. That is some sort of relic site that is totally crazy. So we're going to go after this guy. Line it up on that axis, line it up there, change it to 8AU, and scan. It's a little disappointing that we couldn't figure out what that was. But actually, it's gone now. So I don't know if someone is there, which is a little weird. Who's in local? There's only 3 people in local. So somebody must have been in there clearing it, or it would still be there, unless it just disappeared on its own. So we're going to recenter and shrink. And that's a wormhole. We're jumping on. To Aberrule. So core probe scanning is actually relatively straightforward once you get the hang of it. You can do it pretty quickly. I remember being super confused about it the first time, and until I realized that you only had to line things up on a couple different axes, I was flipping all over the place and rotating the map. All right, this looks good. Double click to get ours moving just a little bit. There's 3 X's here. We're going to launch our probes and get to work. We'll start right to left this time. So we're going to get that guy in there. I'm going to go to 8AU, and we're going to see what kind of stuff we can get here. Is there anybody local on this one? Again, 3 people on local. Todd Westwood. Dillard. Oh, there's another guy here, Scrap Trucker. So that is a combat site. Combat sites aren't really what we're interested in finding with an Imicus. Those are for ships to fight in, and that is kind of another deal there. But you can scan those down with core scanner probes, and once you get them green, you can warp there and fight who's ever there, and usually it's pretty lucrative. There is another combat site. We don't really care too much about those right now. We are looking for data and relic sites. Again, this is more just the ins and outs of scanning tutorial. So if we don't find anything, that's what happens sometimes with exploration. You can have a nice relaxing time scanning stuff down. Oh, Slepperer. There's nothing here, and it's a dead-end system. You disappoint me, Slepperer. We're going back to Dodenvale. But that is the ins and outs of exploration. It is flying around, finding the red X's, seeing what they are, and seeing if the thing that they are is something that you're interested in. In my next video, I'm actually going to be hacking a data or relic site, depending on what I stumble across first. So thanks for watching Exploration and Scanning Basics. Like and subscribe.